Welcome to episode 292 of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today I'm going to do a film session looking at our run defense against the Minnesota Vikings. We do know we had a victory that came down kind of close, and part of that is because the Vikings did a pretty decent job, I would say, racking up yards against the Bears defense, but figured we would just go to the film. There's a lot in here, kind of like Montgomery, so I'm going to try to get through most of it, but we'll see. All right, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get this started. All right, so 2nd and 16. I don't remember what happened on the first. Oh, Cousins got sacked. I don't know if it was a quick pass or what, but anyway, 2nd and 16. They just do a lead dive here. Looks like either a loss or no gain. I feel like I haven't seen lead dives in forever. So first, you got Akeem Hicks gets off his block. And, the play's not going that way, but nice little move. Really, it's the same thing we typically see, and that's that we don't give up too much. We don't give up too much yardage off the line of scrimmage, too much space. Really, you got Brent Urban here setting this. A good job by Brent Irvin, which really causes the fullback to have to adjust because the fullback wants to get through that hole and get to the linebacker, but because Brent Irvin kind of blows that up, takes 2 for 1, that allows Trevathan to be clean and to make a play there. So, good job. What was this? 3rd and 16. So, yeah, they end up running it. I remember this was an outside zone. And or something it was a perimeter play, and Dalvin got close. So we're in our nickel. And this is interesting because part of it is that the play side tackle pass sets. So I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's technically a zone. He doesn't pass that, but he lets Quinn go up the field, which takes him out of the play. And then, it's a good job by the corner, but it's a bad job by everybody else. Let's see. We got Houston Carson here. Not really his fault. I would say Tayshaun Gibson, this is a problem. He goes directly inside. You got the alley. That's the linebacker's job. You just, as the safety, you took yourself out of play. Thankfully, the corner was there to make the play because that would have been a first down, and that's all on Tayshaun Gibson. This is the alley. This is you. You suck yourself in. That was just bad. And there was no real reason for him to go inside. It was 16 yards to go. All right, so 2nd and 2. We're still in the first quarter. Vikings are down 7-0. So it looks like they run split zone, which is what we run a lot. Same thing, you get the motion, you get the split zone. And I don't know what is going on with this line. Hold on. Let's go back. Bradbury was on the ground. We're in our base formation here. And so I can tell you exactly how they messed up because I don't know if it was a stunt or anything, but Hicks is going to go against the grain. And so at that point, you got to let him go. That should go to Bradbury. He tries to block Hicks instead of just going up to the linebacker, and that would have been wide open. But the lineman tries to stay with Hicks instead, and then that messes up everything because that trips up Bradbury. That was terrible. It is now really perplexing me how bad offensive line. And I wouldn't say bad, but they're not perfect at zone blocks, which I don't get. Like, you have all the time and resources in the world, and colleges and high schools perfect this. How do you not perfect it? All right, so we got another zone here with a fullback. And let me see. I don't like these angles. I like to see from behind. It's a little harder to see. But it looked like they just had a lead zone. Yeah, everybody steps. Boom. B gaps filled. So backside. I mean, that's a good job by Dalvin. Then obviously he's able to break that tackle. But we got that odd front. I mean, that's just a really good job by the line. Everybody's hat on the hat. Nobody really gets off a block. First and 10, first quarter. They are in the white zone. And pro personnel again, 21. 21. 2 backs, 1 tight end. Is that a tight end? It looks like a tight end. And so the cutback again. Looks like they do a lead zone. They just run that lead zone. B gap is there, so natural cutback lane. And Mingo is supposed to be the cutback player. And this is what makes it hard running odd front, because we're in our base right now. So our edge player is actually Mingo, but he's bumped out over the receiver. We got 2 safeties off the ball. So when you run this, you run any type of zone, and your cutback player is usually who they leave unblocked on the backside. And that's Mingo, kinda, but he's really far away. So by the time he gets back into the play, he's first off blocked, and second, it's nowhere to be found. So, I went the wrong way. If we look at it from the end zone view, you'd be tempted to look at this and say Hicks is the edge player, but he's not. Like I said, Mingo is. And because of his alignment, that's going to cause this tackle to have to block him. Now, Trevathan could play that as well. But Trevathan flows hard, and they end up getting them. I mean, they do a hell of a job on those zone combos. It's interesting to see how many teams run zone, but again, that's because linemen are pretty soft these days. They don't come out of college with as much experience in the power game as they used to. Some do, some don't. But all right, so they go with 21 again, give you a little bit of the same look, but then they do this this toss play, which they did earlier, and it's a weird play. It's not exactly one I'm super familiar with, but you can see it's kind of like a misdirection because this fullback is going to come back across. And so that gives him this 2-way go if he wants. Now, obviously, Bilal Nichols does his job play side and gets the penetration off of the block, which causes it to bounce, but it's set up for him to do that. And so he gets the quick swim, but it's set up with everybody watching back for him to cut back. Then take it into contact. I mean, Dalvin did as good as he could have. But Bilal really caused that play to bounce. But it was set up as a two-way go. All right, so 2nd and 1. First quarter. Down by 3. They motion the tight end. Really good game. Let's see what this is. Look like a zone. Look how close their splits are, too. Yeah, it's just a zone stretch. And Dalvin just taking the natural cut back, knowing exactly where he needs to go. And really, I mean, he could have probably played play side, but that's the thing about running with conviction instead of having to dance and cut it back or too much. Like, you run it hard because Travis Gibson is unblocked, but if you run it hard and with distinction, he has no real time to react to that. All right, so 21 personnel again. Another good run. And you got Mingo off the ball. Or not off the ball, but off the line. Well, no, he comes back in the frame. So he is the edge defender. They do an inside lead zone. Now, Mingo tries to scrape over the top. That's the problem. That's why there's so much space down there on the cutback. And yeah, come on. That's textbook. Mingo, you got to play on the edge and come down the line. You can't scrape over the top. All right, so 2nd quarter, they're down 10. They run a split zone. Pretty decent game. That was a weird block. I'm not sure what that was, but Mingo gets caught up in it. I mean, you would think the split zone would. I mean, you could still run it. They bring the middle tight end or the nub backside. And Mingo gets held up just enough for the edge to happen. But I don't know. That's a weird design play. Because 83 comes crashing back when he should have just kept going play side. Oh, he steps inside. But then just let him go. I mean, let him go. This play's coming to the outside either way. All right, so Mingo crashes in a little bit, gets himself pinned, and then they get around the edge. So 4th and 1. This is 2nd quarter, down 10, big play, momentum play. So they end up stopping them. And it's a split zone. Let's see. So John Jenkins does his job. He gets one-on-one with Bradbury, and he contains this. That's really what allows this. So part of what they've been eating on was the cutback. Now, obviously, you get How many people we got? I'm just curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. But anyway, part of what they've been eating on is the cutback. And so, especially with this split zone. So, obviously, the backside gets destroyed. And so that leaves this one-on-one block with Bradbury and Jenkins. Jenkins is already in position, and he does a good job just holding. Now, Khalil Mack, I believe, knifes inside of the tight end. Now, why would you leave tight end one-on-one with Khalil Mack backside? But he does, so he blows up that cutback. That cutback's now dead, and play side does their job. Look at Akeem Hicks just sulking because it wasn't his play. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know these guys personally, but from what I see on the field, sometimes I don't like players like that, man. Then he tries to talk crap to this lineman as there's a huge run behind him, but he wants to talk crap trying to fight a lineman. So he hit this zone. Actually, just let this play. We'll get to the end zone view. All right, we're in base alignment. They got 2 tight ends. And they're just running their inside zone. I mean, and then you know what's crazy is that, Akeem Hicks wants to stand over linemen and worry about that. He's the reason that the play broke. Because he's one-on-one. And actually, he threw a punch at the lineman. And they didn't call that. I'm shocked. But he's one-on-one. This guy, I mean, if you standing up, he can't really hold you unless he's grabbing your legs. I mean, he's grabbing them. But push him down, get off. This man's... Anyway. So, everything else breaks. Mingo gets blocked on the edge, and they're just to the next level. Now, with Hicks, you got to treat it like a cut block because they'll try to do that too, which means you want to push on the back of their shoulder pads, push them down to the ground, step your legs back, and get off of it. Because if you step your legs back and they still grabbing you, then their arms extended, it's a clear hold. But yeah, he over here worry about trying to fight with the lineman. Meanwhile, there's a big play. And so, minimal gain here, and this was another cutback like they ran last time. And this is a straight handoff more in the zone, but a design cutback. And Hicks, I mean, like I said, like I've always said, when the first level wins, we win. Oh, Iggy was in. I don't know if somebody was hurt for a second. And they really could have just made that a blast play, but I don't think that's what it was set up as. But Hicks gets off his block. And then who is that? 93, is that Walters? He does a good job, too, because otherwise that was about to spring. If Hicks doesn't get off his block, that goes to the second level, and that's gone. All right, so... get into this next play. This was 2nd and 10. Towards the end of the half. It ended up being a big run to the outside. And so we'll break that down a little closer. So what I was seeing is that it was looking kind of like a counter, but then the tackle cut block, I'm not sure, because it looked like the guard and the tackle and the guard were getting ready to pull. And if that's the case, all you do is block back with this center, and then these two can block back, block down, I should say, 2 down to 1, but the tackle ends up cutting him because Bradbury looks confused, and then the guard pulls by himself. So not sure what happened there. That might be one of their rules. Well, the tackle didn't block back, so maybe it was, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it was set up to be that way because the backside tackle blocks Khalil on the edge, and it's a pull, so it looks more like a power. And it could have hit, but you saw Khalil dive inside, so the outside was open. And then the defensive backs are getting blocked. And that's really what it was. The defensive backs got to get off those blocks and play the edge, but nobody was really there. All right, so 2nd and 2. We are in the 3rd quarter. They're down by 10. And again, inside zone. Not a big run, but inside zone and then a cutback. And that's just taking what you could get. I mean, not a lot to get there. Keem Hicks obviously does a good job getting off his block. 1st and 10 again. So they go with a short toss, not a play that, and nice run, but not a play that I really ever mess with myself, but I know that's become popular over the last few years. Not a whole lot. It was a lot more popular a few years ago, But just a short toss. That's a lead toss, so it's kind of like an inside toss. It's a little weird. But I guess the thought is when you see the toss motion, you think outside perimeter, and then the way you do it here with this lead is more like a dive play. And so I don't know. It's not one that I've done. Not even one that I would feel comfortable with. But as you can see, they get a hat on the hat. You get a double here. Jenkins is taken care of. Brent Urban does a good job holding his gap, but it comes inside of him, and that's what really it was because the fullback got one-on-one with the linebacker, and then it's just off to the races. And then that's when you want to see a linebacker fill that hole and blow that back up because then there's nowhere to go. And so just another inside zone, missed tackle. I hate this camera angle. And really more like a zone stretch. And again, I would probably, there's Mingo. I was going to say I would probably bet we're in base, which we are. And Mingo is apexed out. So now you really got no edge defender. I mean, you got Hicks, but still now the edge is here. You really got no edge defender. And so if you fight outside, that leaves this inside gap, which it does. If you stay inside, that would have left the outside open. And then Trevathan able to get off the block, but misses the tackle. I mean, Dalvin just got good vision. He knows what he's doing. He reads it very naturally. But at this point, especially in the red zone, I don't know why we kept Apex. Like, at that point, bring the safety down. But I guess we were just scared of the one-on-one coverage or whatever. I'm not sure. And that's a good job by Trevathan meeting him in the hole. So let's see. We're in our base, but we're tightened up now. They're still in their 21 personnel. And it's just a lead dive. And Roquan is going on a free ride. He is blown up. And so really it starts here with Hicks and this double team. They blow him off the ball, so then they're able to combo to the linebacker, and that gives all the space. But Trevathan, I mean, he got kind of blown up, but it was a good job by him to at least stop momentum. So, but yeah, it all starts with that play side combo. They did a good job on Trevathan there. Got some move. I mean, not Trevathan, on Akeem. So 2nd and 1 from the 1. And they just did a little power, and really it was just all momentum falling forward. All right, towards the end of the 3rd, and they are back in the white zone. Now this is a blast. This is a lead through the B gap. Didn't get a ton, and it was weak. A weak lead, but that's fine. And that's just Urban. Urban does all that. Urban stands his blocks up. Doesn't allow the fullback to get through clean, so the linebacker's able to fill. That's classic football. And people don't know how hard that stuff is, like especially the fullback, because the fullback has to read the block correctly, and then the running back has to read the fullback correctly. And so, it's older school football. I wouldn't say old school, but older school football. And, teams like us, the Bears, that try to dip in and do it sometimes, it's not the same. So this is the cutback play, except without the fullback, they use this nub tight end to do the same thing that the fullback would. So they're going to open it up to this play side, but then cut it back. And a good job out of first level. No yardage gain. I mean, they stayed on the line. All right, let's look at like 2 more. 1st and 10. This is a split zone. Straight off the edge. They got a bunch set as well. I mean, Mingo crashes down again. I don't know if they had a call, but Mingo crashes down. Then it's easy for the receivers to block down on D-backs. And so the edge was just wide open. I mean, there's nothing to read there, because you're zoning to the right, and then the one edge defender crashes inside, which I don't know why. Well, no, the whole team stunted. We stunted away from the zone, so we just got caught there. 2nd and 1 on the 35-yard line. I'm not sure if he got that. But just a weak lead again. Yeah, I'm not sure what Dalvin was doing. That's more so on him, because Dalvin stops his momentum and tries to cut back immediately, and there's really nothing there. Well, I guess he saw that hole, but no, okay, I get it. But they got off their blocks late, and so he had to jump back to the play, and it was over at that point. I don't know if they gave it to him, but this is towards the end. So I'm going to look at this last play, and then we're done. Oh, this is interesting. So this is kind of like a reverse split. So they use the receiver like a lead, like a pulling guard. So that's weird. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what I would call that, but they're going to bring, I guess that's the receiver. I don't know if he's a tight end, but they're going to bring him around almost kind of like a trap play where, well, there's no edge defender. I guess he's just a lead block. I don't know. That was interesting. And Dalvin could have really kept going, but he cut it back. All right, so that's it on that part. So overall, I mean, it's interesting watching the Vikings offense, to be honest with you. Some of the blocking they do is creative, but you can see Dalvin he uses his vision. But I would say this was more schematic. You had us using our base formation, apexing a lot, and I think they want to keep the two safeties back just because they were worried about the backup corners playing. And so, but that gives up something in the run game. And this is a balanced team. Obviously, Dalvin does his thing, but, Thielen and Justin Jefferson are not any chumps. And so it's tough. And one thing they did that was really smart is that they stayed with the 21 personnel. They could have brought in multiple tight ends. They did a couple times, but for the most part, they always gave you two receivers. And then a lot of times they would line them up weak. And so if you got a fullback and a tight end, Dalvin Cook, that is running a lot, but then you got Thielen and Justin Jefferson backside on the weak, it really causes you to make a determination of where you're going. And we did. We put Mingo out there in coverage. We apexed him. And it really hurt on our discipline with our perimeter. And that's really most of the runs that Dalvin got on us was the perimeter. And part of that is Tayshaun Gibson as well as a safety, not playing the alley. But, again, he's not a natural strong safety. So, anyway, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe. And remember, stay up and bear down.